Breathe in gently, settle your body, and let your mind soften as we enter the quiet world of philosophy. Before we step into the depths of Plato's ideas, a small reminder. If you enjoy calm, reflective explorations like this one, make sure to subscribe to the channel and like the video. It helps this space grow, and it ensures you won't miss any future meditative philosophy journeys. Now, ease into the sound of silence. Imagine the world dimming around you, like a candle slowly lowering its flame. You are entering a place older than memory, the place where thought begins. Tonight, we walk with Plato. Plato believed that the visible world is only a shadow, a soft flicker of something deeper. His philosophy invites us to slow down, to look beyond the noise, and to feel the quiet structure behind existence. So let's begin at the foundation of his thought, the gentle idea that what you see is not all there is. Plato asks us to imagine that the world we touch, see, and move through is not the final layer of truth. It's a surface, a reflection, like the shimmer of moonlight on water. Beautiful, familiar, but not complete. In his view, everything around you, every tree, every face, every emotion, every idea, is only an echo of something purer and more lasting. He calls these deeper truths the forms. Not forms like shapes, but forms like the perfect essence behind every imperfect example. A circle drawn on paper is never flawless, yet the idea of a perfect circle that exists somewhere beyond sight. A beautiful person will age, but the essence of beauty itself does not fade. Brave actions come and go, but the form of courage remains untouched. Plato's claim is bold. The real world is not the one you see. The real world is the invisible one your mind can understand. This is where things become quietly powerful. When your senses grow tired, when the day feels heavy or confusing, Plato reminds you that the chaos of daily life is just the surface.
Beneath it lies structure, order, and meaning that cannot be damaged by time or chance. To understand Plato is to slow down, to look inward, to feel for the steady truth beneath the shifting world. When the visible world feels uncertain, he whispers, "Don't cling to the shadows, follow the light behind them." Plato paints one of the most haunting images in all of philosophy. A group of people live chained inside a dark cave. They have been there since birth. They cannot move their heads. They cannot see each other. They can only face a flat wall. Behind them, unseen, is a fire. And between the fire and the prisoners, people walk by carrying objects. The prisoners cannot see the objects, only the shadows cast on the wall in front of them. And so, for them, the shadows become reality. A passing figure becomes a flicker on stone. A whole world shrinks into silhouettes. Now imagine one prisoner breaks free. He turns around. He sees the fire. His eyes hurt. He stumbles upward out of the cave and into the sunlit world. At first, everything is painful, too bright, too overwhelming. But slowly, he begins to see. He discovers that the shadows were never the truth. He sees real trees, real faces, real colors. He understands that reality is richer, deeper, and more beautiful than he ever imagined. Then comes the most difficult part. He returns to the cave to help the others. But they laugh at him. mock him, even threaten him, because to them the shadows are safe. The truth is frightening. Plato's message is quietly unsettling. Most people live inside their own cave, trapped by habits, opinions, fears, and assumptions. They mistake shadows for reality because questioning them feels uncomfortable. But he also offers hope. Truth is painful at first, but liberating in the long run. Your world becomes bigger, brighter, and more meaningful when you dare to look beyond the surface.
As your body relaxes and your thoughts begin to slow, imagine yourself gently walking out of your own cave into a world where clarity replaces confusion and where light patiently shapes the edges of everything you see. Plato didn't stop with the cave. He gave another image, quieter but just as powerful, the divided line. It's his way of showing that not all knowing is really knowing. Some of it is just guessing, dressed up as certainty. Picture a vertical line split into 4 segments. At the bottom sits imagination, the realm of illusions, rumors, and surface impressions. It's where we mistake appearance for truth, like thinking a shadow is the object that casts it. Most people, Plato suggests, drift here without realizing it. Above that comes belief, the everyday kind of knowing. Here we accept what we see, hear, or are taught as solid and reliable. But it's still limited. It doesn't question what lies behind things. It just takes them as they are. Climbing higher, we reach thought, the terrain of analysis, logic, mathematics. This level demands clarity. It doesn't settle for impressions. It looks for structure, pattern, and coherence. Here the mind begins to sharpen. And at the very top is understanding, the kind of insight that sees the whole picture, not just the pieces. It's the grasp of deeper principles, the forms, the essence behind the noise. To reach this level is to genuinely know, not just think you know. Plato's point isn't to insult our intelligence. It's to remind us that the mind can live at many altitudes. You can breathe the thin air of shallow impressions, or you can climb, slowly, steadily, into cleaner, clearer thought. And that climb is quiet, patient work. The kind of work that turns confusion into clarity and restlessness into calm. Let your breathing settle. Let your thoughts drift upward. And imagine yourself ascending that line not with strain or pressure, but with a soft, steady curiosity that makes each step lighter than the last. Plato drops a bold idea here, the kind that makes modern minds twitch. He claims the ideal ruler isn't the strongest, or the richest, or the most charismatic. It's the one who knows the most,
the one who has seen the world clearly and returned from that clarity with humility instead of pride. The philosopher king is not a king because they crave power. They're a king because they don't. Plato imagines a leader shaped not by ambition, but by understanding. Someone trained to separate illusion from truth, personal desire from the common good. Someone who has climbed out of the cave, stared into the light of reason, and come back with the calmness, of someone who doesn't fear shadows anymore. This figure rules reluctantly, gently, almost the way a skilled helmsman guides a ship. Steady hand, quiet judgment, no ego in the way. Underneath this idea sits a quieter message, not about politics, but about the self. The philosopher king is a symbol of what your own mind can become, when reason, rather than impulse, takes the throne. A reminder that the part of you that sees most clearly should guide the rest, not with force, but with patient insight. As you breathe, allow that thought to settle. Imagine your inner world becoming a well-governed city, the restless impulses softening, the wiser voice stepping forward, a quiet sovereignty rising from within. Every day, you make choices that feel small, almost harmless, choosing what to watch, what to scroll past, what to tolerate, what to avoid. These moments seem light, like dust particles floating in a sunbeam. Yet they accumulate, and without noticing, you begin to drift toward a version of yourself shaped not by intention, but by accident. Philosophers sometimes call this the drift of the self, the slow movement away from who you wanted to be, caused not by big decisions, but by the unconscious ones, the quiet ones, the ones too subtle to notice in real time.
The strange part is that these invisible choices build the architecture of your life just as much as your loud decisions. They determine your habits, your desires, your patience, your kindness, your resilience. They sculpt your inner world grain by grain, like wind shaping a desert dune. So ask yourself gently, which direction are your small choices pushing you toward? And if the answer feels uncertain, remember, this isn't failure. It's simply a sign that you're waking up, noticing the currents before they carry you farther than you intended. People wait for perfect moments the way sailors once waited for perfect winds, a future day when they'll finally feel ready to start, to change, to become something more than they are now. It's a comforting myth, the idea that readiness will arrive like a knock on the door. But readiness is rarely a feeling. It's more like a shadow that appears only after you've already moved. The mind wants certainty before action, yet action is often what creates certainty. The danger of waiting for the right moment is that life keeps moving whether you participate or not. Days stack on days, years fold into years, and the unrealized version of yourself remains quietly trapped somewhere in the realm of someday. Here is the quieter truth. Small beginnings matter. Imperfect steps matter. A single decision made today, even if awkward or unsure, can alter the geometry of your future in ways a perfect plan never could. You don't need a perfect moment. You just need a moment you claim as your own. Every person carries two versions of themselves, the one they are and the one they could have been. The tension between them can feel like a quiet heaviness, the kind that follows you room to room even when nothing seems wrong on the surface. Unlived potential isn't loud. It doesn't scream or demand attention. It whispers. It shows up as restlessness, as daydreams that refuse to leave, as the strange ache you feel when you imagine a life that looks slightly different from the one you're living now.
Here's the uncomfortable part. Potential doesn't stay fresh forever. It matures into regret if ignored long enough. People sometimes convince themselves that maybe later is a strategy, when in reality, it's a slow surrender. But the weight you feel isn't punishment, it's guidance. It's your mind pointing towards some path you haven't walked yet. Potential becomes lighter the moment you engage with it, even in a tiny way. A single small action can turn what feels like a burden into momentum. Potential isn't measured by what you imagine, it's measured by what you're willing to attempt. Becoming who you're meant to be is never a dramatic, cinematic transformation. It's rarely a sudden breakthrough, a perfect plan, or a moment of revelation. It's usually something far less glamorous: quiet, deliberate patience. Patience isn't passive. It's not sitting and waiting for life to hand you clarity. It's the slow, consistent commitment to show up, even when your progress feels invisible. Most of the growth that actually matters happens beneath the surface, long before the world ever notices a change. There's a strange truth here. Impatience often comes from fear, not ambition. The fear that you're behind, the fear that others are moving faster, the fear that you might never become the person you imagine. But becoming isn't a race, it's an unfolding. Nature never rushes, yet nothing in nature fails to grow. When you learn to honor the slow pace of your own development, you stop comparing your timeline to someone else's highlight reel. You begin to recognize that growth isn't measured in leaps, but in increments, in the quiet decision to keep going even when no one is watching. Patience doesn't delay your progress, it protects it.
Socrates invites us to a life of examination. To live without reflection, he famously warns, is a life unworthy of human dignity. This call is not simply about pondering ideas, it is about turning inward, questioning our assumptions, and attending to the quality of our thoughts and actions. In the quiet of reflection, we begin to notice the choices that shape our lives. We ask ourselves, are we living honestly? Are we acting with integrity? Are our desires aligned with reason and virtue? This examination is both gentle and demanding, encouraging a deep awareness of self. Socrates shows that life gains depth only when we pause, inquire, and reflect. Each thought, each decision becomes an opportunity to engage more fully with the world and with our own minds. In the stillness of night, imagine this reflective practice as a soft light, guiding your consciousness toward clarity and calm. Socrates reminds us that true wisdom begins with the recognition of our own ignorance. To claim knowledge we do not possess is to blind ourselves to growth and understanding. The first step toward insight is the humble admission, I do not know. This acknowledgement does not weaken us. Rather, it opens the mind to inquiry, curiosity, and learning. It allows us to approach life with a sense of wonder and a readiness to explore ideas beyond our immediate understanding. By embracing our limitations, we become receptive to new perspectives, new questions, and new truths. We learn to listen deeply, to challenge assumptions, and to refine our beliefs in the quiet pursuit of clarity. As you breathe slowly and let your body relax, imagine the freedom that comes from admitting what you do not know. In that space, there is calm, openness, and the gentle potential for true wisdom to grow. For Socrates, truth is rarely found in solitude. It emerges through dialogue, through the careful exchange of ideas, questions, and reflections. Conversation becomes a mirror, revealing inconsistencies in thought, hidden assumptions, and overlooked insights. Socratic dialogue is not about winning an argument or proving oneself right. It is about mutual exploration, a shared journey toward understanding. By engaging others thoughtfully, we refine our own beliefs and approach truth with humility and patience. In the quiet of night, imagine yourself in such a dialogue, not with noise or distraction, but with calm curiosity.
Each question you pose, each answer you consider, becomes a stepping stone toward clarity. Through this gentle exchange of ideas, the mind stretches, deepens, and finds serenity in understanding. Socrates speaks of the daimonion, an inner voice that guides us, warns us, and gently restrains us from wrongdoing. It is not a loud command, but a quiet, persistent awareness that nudges us toward ethical action and self-reflection. This inner voice serves as a moral compass, reminding us to act with integrity even when external pressures or desires tempt us otherwise. It teaches patience, attentiveness, and respect for our own conscience. Listening to the daimonion requires stillness and attentiveness. In the quiet of night, imagine tuning in to this subtle guidance, allowing it to shape your thoughts, your decisions, and your reflections. It is a source of gentle wisdom, quietly steering you toward virtue and calm awareness. For Socrates, the cultivation of virtue is inseparable from the care of the soul. The soul is the seat of thought, character, and moral sensitivity, and its well-being depends on consistent reflection, ethical living, and the pursuit of wisdom. Virtue is not merely an outward display of good behavior. It is an internal harmony, a refinement of desires, judgments, and emotions so that they align with reason and the greater moral order. To care for the soul is to nurture this harmony, to protect it from corruption by vice, and to strengthen it through contemplation and disciplined action. Every moment of self-examination, every ethical decision, every act of honesty or compassion contributes to this cultivation. Like tending a garden, the soul requires patient attention, awareness, and careful nourishment. Neglect leads to inner turmoil, while devotion to virtue brings serenity and clarity. In the calm of night, imagine tending your own soul with gentle care. Reflect on your thoughts, your choices, and the alignment of your actions with your deeper values. Feel the subtle peace that grows from nurturing the inner life, knowing that each moment spent in virtue strengthens the foundation of your being. Socrates believed that clarity in thought begins with precise definitions. To understand concepts like justice, courage, or piety, we must probe deeply, question assumptions, and strive to articulate what these ideas truly mean. This search is not trivial. Everyday conversations often rely on vague, imprecise terms, which lead to misunderstandings and shallow thinking. By examining definitions, we refine our understanding, sharpen our reasoning, and bring coherence to our moral and intellectual lives. The process is methodical, yet gentle. We ask, we challenge, we reconsider, always aiming for a more accurate and meaningful grasp of concepts. This practice trains the mind to move beyond surface impressions and cultivate intellectual and ethical depth. As you rest quietly, imagine yourself gently exploring each idea with care.
feel the calm clarity that arises when your mind attends to truth, seeking understanding in every word, every thought, every quiet reflection. For Socrates, the path to wisdom is paved with questions. To live thoughtfully is to continuously inquire, to challenge assumptions, and to probe the foundations of our beliefs. Each question opens a window into deeper understanding, revealing truths that might otherwise remain hidden.
This method is not about defeating others in debate, but about refining one's own mind. By questioning ourselves and those around us, we confront uncertainty, uncover inconsistencies, and nurture intellectual humility. Wisdom, in Socratic terms, grows slowly, cultivated through patient reflection and persistent curiosity. Even in the quiet of night, we can practice this form of questioning. Consider gently examining your thoughts, your motivations, and your assumptions. Each question becomes a tool to quiet mental clutter, bringing clarity, calm, and a subtle sense of peace. As you sink further into stillness, let your mind wander through this reflective dialogue, finding serenity in the process of thoughtful inquiry. As you settle into the quiet of night, allow the wisdom of Socrates to guide your mind into calm reflection. The examined life, with its inquiry, integrity, courage, and care for the soul, offers a gentle path toward clarity and serenity. Remember that true wisdom begins with self-awareness, honesty, and thoughtful questioning. Each reflection, each ethical choice, and each moment of virtue is a step toward inner peace, even amidst life's uncertainties. Before you drift fully into rest, a gentle reminder. If you enjoyed this exploration of Socratic philosophy and wish to experience more calming, thought-provoking content, please subscribe to our channel and like this video. Your support allows us to continue sharing these reflective journeys with you. Let the quiet discipline of thought, the care of your soul, and the serenity of reason carry you into sleep. Feel the gentle calm of your mind, the steady presence of ethical reflection, and the soft assurance of living with purpose until your consciousness drifts peacefully into dreams.